Well, reporters continue to press Conservative leader Stephen Harper on the campaign trail last night about who knew what, when, during the Mike Duffy-Nigel Wright $90,000 check deal.
The fact of the matter is I have held those who are responsible accountable. The two people who are responsible are Mr. Duffy, who did not repay the taxpayers as I believed he should repay, and I think as most Canadians in common sense believe he should repay, and Mr. Wright, who allowed him not to repay by paying those expenses for him. These are the people.
So just how damaging was Nigel Wright's testimony to Conservative campaign efforts? Joining us now from Sydney, Nova Scotia is Barry Mcloughlin, a crisis communications expert and media consultant to many Canadian politicians. Good morning. Thank you for being on the show.
Good morning, Beverly.
Well, we just saw that clip from Harper. A lot of people said he seemed rattled by this. Does he seem rattled to you at this point?
I don't really think so. I think he's obviously keeping that under control. I think he's probably very bothered by it. I think he's no doubt, he knew there would be blowback from Nigel Wright's testimony in particular right here in the middle of the beginning of the campaign. And so, you know, one of the rules of politics is you never win on defense. And he is playing defense all the past week and probably for a number of days to come. So trying to get back to his ballot question of stability, you know, versus risk, he's nowhere near there in this past week to 10 days.
And I guess then the big question, which can't ultimately be answered yet because as you point out, we're still in the beginning of the campaign, is it resonating with people that are following the campaign? Are they following the Duffy trial or are they following the campaign? What would seem to be winning out?
Well, I think this is more of a kind of a steady drip, drip, drip. And so gradually it's seeping in, I believe, across the country. Obviously, Ottawa and perhaps a few centers are very fixated on this. I don't think there's a fixation level yet, but I do think that it has distracted and begun to take hold as an issue. I've talked to several people who have nothing to do with politics who are down here in Nova Scotia who, you know, they actually are paying attention to this story. So it is catching hold and it won't be shaken loose very easily.
Some people thought that, you know, at the timing of the call of the election meant that the Conservatives weren't too concerned about the trial moving forward. Do you think that, you know, that may have been a tactical or strategical mistake at this point?
I thought a lot about that, but I think in the end, the full campaign period, the pre-campaign was virtually the campaign. I mean, we were already in effect underway. I don't think it's going to make much net difference. The major thing is he's got about 60 days to try to end up back where he should be to get on a recovery pattern, and he's not there yet.
So, given your area of expertise and, you know, the politicians that you work with, you know, how does Harper move forward through this? How does he try to stay, or how does the campaign try to stay on message when we've got potentially more interesting evidence coming forward?
Well, given the fact that it's a court case, as your previous guest said, that it's really not just prosecuting, you know, Mr. Duffy. It's really all about prosecuting the Prime Minister and the government. And I think Donald Bain is doing a pretty focused job on that. So therefore, there's no defined wonderful moment that the Prime Minister could take hold of this and turn it around while that court case is still going on. So he has to hope that gradually this kind of drifts back and other issues that he needs to bring to the fore so he can change the channel and get back to the focus he needs it to be on. So he's got a lot of work cut out for himself.
Yeah, and he's got a couple of months left for the campaign, as all of us do. Thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure, Beverly.